Our inductee in the contributors category is Lou Nanne of Edina. Since his arrival in Minnesota more than 6 decades ago, Nanne has been a beloved treasure through many roles. Whether it was as a player with the Minnesota Gophers, the U.S. Olympic hockey team, the Minnesota North Stars, hockey administrative roles, or as a media icon, he is a one-of-a-kind legend. Just say Lou, and folks know who you are talking about.
I guess the thing that's really affected my life more than anything else has been the University of Minnesota. And I've mentioned that many times because it shaped me into the type of person I was. It gave me a springboard to success in athletics. I was very involved in business school, starting the financial program for him over there with Dean Kidwell. I've spent the rest of my life trying to do for others what it did for me.
In Minnesota State High School League lore, Nanne is revered as the television analyst for the Boys Hockey State Tournament, a role he held for 60 seasons.
It was 1962 or something, 63, where a radio station from St. Louis Park called me after I was through it, so it would have been 64. They wanted me to broadcast a high school game, and I can't remember the call letter. It was a small station, St. Louis Park, and that was in November. And I started then broadcasting high school games. The next March, this was November, in March, Channel 11, WTCN hires me, and then I started doing that.
While he was cool under pressure as a player, what was it like in the booth?
I think a broadcaster, he's got to be like an athlete. Like I said to Gordie Howe, boy, oh boy, that guy's really nervous before the game. Gordie says, Louie, I never played a game where I wasn't nervous. And I thought, I didn't either. And I got to think the same way as a broadcaster. And it's not so much nervousness, it's the adrenaline. Your adrenaline gets going. If you got to be up, you want to prepare. So I never went into broadcasting the state tournament without having the adrenaline, nervous about the start, anxious. I think that's what makes you more alert.
Nanne said he absorbed information and advice from many, but the best was from another Minnesota TV icon, Mel Jazz, the weatherman. And
he told me, when you look at that camera and that red light goes on, I want you to look at that camera thinking you're in the living room with someone and you're talking to someone on the couch across from you. I said, yeah, but nobody's reacting to me. He says, you got to just think about their reaction. So when I broadcast a hockey game, I try and broadcast to the lowest common denominator. People know the least about the game, because I want them to understand what I'm talking about too.
For many state tournament events, Nanne had a press box view of his sons and grandsons playing in the tournament.
To me, it was something not only unique but special. And where else are you going to get an event where you get that kind of intensity, excitement, competitiveness, and yet, and watch the kids, the kind of feeling they got, the euphoria when they win, devastation when they lose. I mean, it's really special. I said, if you don't think I want my son or my grandsons to win, you're nuts. Yeah, I want them to win. But other than that, I don't care who wins. I'm just excited.
Lou's broadcast career also includes the Stanley Cup, Hockey Night in Canada, and the Winter Olympics. But the league state tournament still reigns number one in his heart.
The toughest games I ever had to broadcast are when my kid plays or my grandsons play. I'm telling you, it's like a tempest in my stomach. But I have to try and keep cool and calm, not show any partisanship or anything. And especially not focus on them, because if they're behind the plate doing something, the play's going here, I can't watch that stuff. Although I want to watch that stuff. I will tell you a funny story now that I'm not doing it anymore. In the championship game, my grandson gets a 5-minute boarding penalty for hitting from behind, but it wasn't one of the kind of hit that you throw him out of the game. And I'm seeing on TV how you got to be careful. You can't hit from behind. You got to understand what the referees are doing. And then we went to commercial break, and I had to talk about it, and I says, what I said is true, except that was a brutal call because it wasn't hitting from behind. But I'm not going to say that on TV.
On Saturday, March 9th, 2024, Nanne broadcast the final game of his 60-year career. It was one of the most powerful moments in league history, as he and his wife Francine were honored at center ice prior to the start of the Class 2A championship game. The love and respect of more than 20,000 fans was clear in a standing ovation that lasted many minutes.
There are a lot of flashbacks go through your mind of how long you've been doing this, what it was like, but it was really special. You start thinking, that's a hell of a long timeline that went by, and all the good things that have happened, fortunate you are, and have the crowd recognize that was powerful.